Okay, so for example number 1, we need to use the distance formula to find the distance from C to D. On a graph, I would suggest using the method that we talked about in class, where we have the rise squared plus the run squared, and we're using the Pythagorean theorem. So it would be the rise squared plus the run squared equals C squared. So if you're looking at a graph, you want to count how much am I going up, how much am I going over, and just use your Pythagorean theorem. So if I'm going to count up, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units up. If I'm counting over, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units over. And then all you have to do is plug it into the Pythagorean theorem. So you need to say that it's 5 squared plus 7 squared equals C squared. Okay, let's go ahead and evaluate the equation. So you'd have 25 plus 49 equals C squared. And then 25 plus 49 on my calculator is 74. So 74 equals C squared. But I'm not done. I want to get CL alone. So in order to get CL alone, you have to take the square root at the very end every time. You're going to take the square root of 74, and you're going to get a decimal 8.6. And that is fine to get a decimal on these. Okay, so they're saying that the length from C to D is 8.6 units when I round it. Okay, now on these it's a little bit harder because you don't have a graph, so you can't count the rise and the run. So you need to find the difference in the x's. Remember, this is your x, and this is your y. This is your x, and this is your y. And you really should be able to do this in your head. So if you're looking at RS, okay, you want to find what's the difference between 5 and 0. So the difference between 5 and 0, and then the difference between 4 and 4. Okay, so the difference between 5 and 0 is obviously 5. The difference between 4 and 4 is obviously 0. So I'm going to do 5 squared is 25, and all this equals C squared. So for my final answer, I take the square root of both sides, and so C in this case would be 5. So the distance from R to S is 5. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing from T to U. So for T to U, I'm going to say the distance from -4 to -1. So you can subtract it, or I can even do it in my head, and I know it's 3 units apart. So if I do -4 minus -1, like I said, in my head, I know that the distance from -4 to -1 is really 3 units apart. And then I go -3 to +1. So the distance from -3 over to +1, I know that is 4 units apart. You can put parentheses or not, it doesn't matter. And then I have 9 plus 16, which is 25. And again, that equals C squared. Okay, all this equals the C squared. So the last step, again, to get CL alone, don't forget to take the square root. So we get 5. Then they're asking, are they congruent? The word congruent means are they the same? Are they equal? So since both segments here equals 5 units, because this is also 5, then yes, they are both 5. Okay.